All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Jon and Jim with Jim. For the first time since February 2024, Jim has returned to Jon and Jim. We have not seen him since last Thursday, which was February 29th. Jim is alive. Now, John Fantz is going to join the show at 3:30. Great voice on college hoops. Okay. John Fantz will join us at 3:30. Jeff Smith, he's done amazing work with the Mesa Foundation. They had this great partnership with Blenders. Over the past weekend, they sold out this entire limited edition pair of sunglasses in a relationship with the Mesa Foundation. Jeff Smith will join us coming up at 4:30. We have Aztec basketball tonight at 8, as Jim just said. Pregame coverage at 7:30. It is a big day because Brad Miller has been signed by the Padres, but Jim is here.
Yeah, I do have an announcement to make.
Okay.
I'll be gone tomorrow.
Yeah, we already told our listeners yesterday. So here's the deal. So Jim was gone Friday.
Yeah.
We had a gentleman's agreement. I was going to go to Sedona for the weekend. Mm-hmm. You were going to work Friday. Yeah. You then were going to be off on Monday. Completely reasonable. I was off on Friday. Yeah. So I was going to work for you on Monday. That was the gentleman's agreement.
Right.
You broke the agreement, though, before it started because Friday you were off.
But it wasn't like I chose it.
Right. You're saying you didn't choose the kidney stone or the emergency procedures.
Say, you know what? I'm going to choose because John's not here just to not show up on Friday. No, I had to go to the emergency room. I was there for about 7 hours.
Okay.
And I had to get a CT scan. And I also found out that I kind of had a little bit of like a bacterial infection. So I had to take more medication this past weekend. And then they set up an appointment for my stent to be taken out this Wednesday, 3:15. I didn't have a choice.
No, that's fair. Since it's health related, I'm not going to give you a hard time over
it. But then Friday, I'm leaving for my bachelor party. So
okay, so you're off. So let me get this straight.
Let
me get this straight. You were off Friday because you had a medical emergency.
Okay,
that's fair.
Yeah,
you're off Monday for whatever reason. You are off tomorrow because you're having this like stent removed.
Yes, but which here, by the way,
at 3 p.m. in the afternoon.
By the way, 3:15 actually.
3:15. Okay.
By the way, depending on how I feel, which they say it's not a major procedure. It's like only going to be about 30 minutes.
Don't tell me you may come in.
So you'll be here by the wrap?
Dude, I may come in.
You complain when you sneeze a lot.
Yeah,
you tell me
annoying.
It's hard to do the show because you have allergies. You're going to come in after a stent procedure on a kidney stone.
I mean,
to do the second half of the show tomorrow.
Look, potentially. I'm not making any guarantees. I'm just saying potentially. I think back to when you went to the urgent care because you thought you were having a heart attack.
Correct.
And then you show up at 5:10.
I showed up so late that day.
And it meant literally, I'm like, why did you even show up?
That was very dumb.
There was no point of you even
coming in.
Very
stupid. So you might try to do something similar?
Potentially.
I don't think you're going to feel like roses.
Well, you're probably right.
But hold on. How do you go from stent removal Wednesday to bachelor party Friday? And when do you return for your bachelor party? Is it Sunday or Monday? I don't want to hear about delayed flight.
No, I have my flight coming back on Sunday. Don't worry.
Okay, so you're leaving Friday morning.
Correct.
For your bachelor party.
Yes.
Post kidney stone. I'm sure it's going to be wild.
Well, it's a good thing that this is getting out of my body because one, I just don't want it in there anymore.
Sure.
And it doesn't need to be in there anymore.
That's fair.
So I want to get it taken care of, or else I have to wait till the 18th.
No, you don't want to do that.
Stent Talk. 844.
Yeah, call
877-767-4760. Stent Talk.
Right.
So I'm getting it out. We're done. Trust me. I asked for an earlier appointment. They're like, no, it's the only one you got for Wednesday.
They're like, oh, you work 3 to 6. How's 3?
How's 3 o'clock sound for you?
Just get here at 3. We'll have you out by 5:59.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, Jon Fantz of Fox Sports, great voice on college hoops. It's March for the first time with Jim in the building. So we'll talk about the Aztecs resume.
Did I miss anything?
Yes, you missed a ton yesterday. Here's what you missed yesterday. You want to know what you missed yesterday? Seriously?
I was completely detached. I don't think I looked at my phone. I looked at my phone maybe 3 times.
Okay. Honestly, here's what you missed yesterday because there was Jeff Paston on Jackson Merrill, and I wrote it off as fine. He said, listen, I've talked to multiple sources. He's been lauded for his work and the way he's handling this. Nobody's surprised if he's on the opening day roster. We agree.
He's the team center
fielder.
We
all agree.
Opening day in Korea.
Well, okay, so that's fine. I mean, I agree with. I'm not going to disagree.
We have our reservations. We have our concerns for sure.
But I'm not disagreeing.
It's going to happen. So there's nothing we can do about it.
But then there was this, and we talked about it yesterday. I'd love to get your 2 cents on it. It was what Dennis Lynn wrote in his mailbag about Tommy Pham, and today I'd paraphrase because I had the quote in front of me. yesterday, but it was this idea that, hey, if you bring in Pham, he brings an element that young players are going to need, which in turn, I say what you're saying is, aren't you slighting the current core? If you're saying a reason to sign Tommy Pham isn't because he helped guide the Diamondbacks to a World Series and had a nice offensive year and fills a role, but really the reason to sign him is because you've got a young group, including Jackson Merrill, that's going to be looking somewhere, and that's why Tommy Pham makes sense.
Here's my first initial reaction when you say that.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Manny? What's wrong with Xander? What's wrong with those two guys? Aren't they supposed to be like the leaders of this team? Aren't they the veterans on this team? Or do you have to have a guy that is maybe more approachable, or maybe a guy that is going to actually kind of bust your ass if you don't do the work in Tommy Pham?
So what is that? Right. That's what I said. What does it say, though?
Is that a little bit of an indictment on maybe the guys that are already there?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of an indictment. Yeah, I mean, that's how I see it. Like, I'm all for, if Dennis wrote yesterday in his mailbag, they got to sign Tommy Pham because this guy's capable of having an 800 OPS, and they have no one else that can do that because he's a better player than Jurickson Profar, because he's a better option than what they have. I'm all for that. 100%. I'm all for that. But if one of the primary reasons to sign him is because, listen, Jackson Merrill has nowhere to turn,
that's a problem.
Yeah. So that to me was at least surprising. And then with each passing day, like you talked about in the update, they've signed Brad Miller. They've signed, give me another example of something they've signed the last 3 to 5 days.
Tim LeCastro.
Thank you. What are we doing here? Because these aren't signings I wouldn't think for minor league depth. You're signing 30-somethings. You are trying to fill out a roster in the middle of March. Like, you've got 3 bench spots, and you've got rotation spots, and you have outfield spots, and you have a DH spot. And you're just, hey, flyer on Brad Miller, flyer on Tim LeCastro. I mean, with all due respect, I'm looking for more of like the Tommy Pham type move. Like, is Brad Miller really going to impact this team? A 34-year-old that had a 600 OPS last year in the big leagues?
I am just going to accept the fact that this team will probably most likely go into the season with major holes on this roster. And for most people out there, they're going to have major concerns and reservations about, is this really going to work? You'll have the group of people that just want to see the young guys and just is going to be excited to see, Jackson Merrill. And then you have another group of people that, who cares? Doesn't even matter. It's baseball. Yay, fun. We love the Padres. And then you're going to have the people out there that, might dive deeper into this team than most and look at this roster and be like, what are we doing? Like, we are the what's going on here crowd. And not saying that there's no chance for them to win in 2024, but there's going to need to be a lot of things to go right for this team this year. And to go into this season spending essentially, we've talked about it, they've made 3 moves this offseason as far as free agency goes. 3. And the trade that they did in December for Michael King, Nebrito, Vasquez, Thorpe, and Higashioka for Juan Soto and Trent Grisham didn't really address their needs. It actually just kind of made a bigger hole in their lineup.
And saved them $20 million. You might say, well, they took on
yet.
Right. You might say, well, they took on Higashioka's deal and Burrito's deal. Yeah, but they shed Juan Soto's $32 million per year salary. And by the way, to your point about what we're discussing and the critical nature of this, it doesn't take a CSI investigation to uncover this thing. Like, all Padres fans that are concerned about seeing this team win at a high level in 2024 should be asking questions about who's on our bench, who's our 5th starter, who's our left fielder, who's our DH. Those are fair and legitimate questions. And it's not January 5th. They are on a flight for Korea, presumably a charter, in 8 days.
8 days.
So, again, it's not the end-all be-all. You could go to Korea without a finished roster. Yeah. You don't have to be perfect in Korea. And then you have March 28th. So if you want to say it's March 5th and you have until March 28th to complete your roster, I buy that. But, I mean, the clock's ticking. It is. And, these are genuine, legitimate questions and concerns. This isn't like, woe is me. Only Jon and Jim. Why are only Jon and Jim talking about this? I saw AJ Cassavell write at MLB.com. They have 8 spots open on their 26-man roster. Right? Because think about it. 3 bench, or 8 spots that are being fought for. Which
not
3
open.
bench.
If they had 8 spots out of 26 that aren't like.
But run through them with me. So left and center, like still to be determined. We think we know some of the answer. Whatever.
Okay, you're right.
So DH is a third.
Yeah.
4th and 5th starter, 4 and 5. Bench 2, 3, 4. You're up to 8.
Yeah.
So like, that's the truth.
And really, all we've been talking about, and all we've really heard is like the stars need to perform. Yes, they do. That is correct. But we have seen teams where they have stars perform to an MVP level, and those teams win like 79 games because the rest of their roster isn't complete. They have so many holes on those rosters, and that is my worry. That is, even if they get the perfect storm of a Machado, Tatis, Bogarts, one of those guys has an MVP season, most likely to be Machado or Tatis, right? If one of the Machado or Tatis has an MVP type year, the other one has an all-star year, Xander has an all-star year, and you get from Darvish and Musgrove, both give you 175 plus innings this year. Even if that happens, and Ha-Seong Kim gets better than last year, like he takes last year and he improves on that. Even if those, 3, 4, 6 things happen, the rest of the roster isn't quite there. And by isn't quite there, it's not even close. And that's the worry is what if the stars do show out? What if the stars do perform like their contracts are like, hey, they actually live up to their contracts this time around. One of them actually is in the MVP conversation. All the rest are potential all-stars at the all-star game, right? Like we're talking about, hey, can this guy be an all-star? This guy be an all-star? Even if all that happens, my worry is it might not still be enough.
Yeah, like I'm not saying I think you agree with this. I'm not saying today's Padres are previous iterations of the Angels.
No, they're better than that. They're better than that.
I agree with you, but to be fair, the Angels haven't had one great player. They've had 2 great players for a long period of time. Trout has won 2 of his 3 MVPs on teams that were at least 14 games under 500. He was American League MVP on 2 teams that were at least 14 games under 500. One of them lost 90 games. And one of those teams, I believe, had Shohei Ohtani as well. Now, again, I'm with you. This team is more complete than the Angels. They've had more success in recent history than the Angels. But your point is valid. You can't rely solely on good offensive production, even one good pitcher. Because Ohtani was good offensive production and one good pitcher.
Cy Young.
And that still didn't even put him in contention at any point.
So it's a very risky game that they're going to be doing here by going into the season and giving these guys a chance. Hopefully they pan out. But the problem is they don't have like this time that's needed for this many amount of prospects and young guys given this opportunity. If there was no expectations going into this year, and by the way, I don't want to hear people say that there's no expectations for this team compared to last year, because there's still expectations, which is win and make the postseason. So there's expectations on this team. And I think making the postseason is still a pretty lofty goal. Like, hey, make the postseason. It's for this team. Yeah, they have the expectations, and they don't have time. They don't have time, and they have expectations, and that's where it's like concerning. Also, from a standpoint of like AJ's not even, and maybe they do sign Tommy Pham. I don't know. It kind of feels like he's already on this team already. The more that we hear about it and talk about it, right? But if he doesn't sign Tommy Pham and they don't make any more moves, they don't sign anybody, they don't trade for anybody, which we were told, like, hey, I would be quote shocked if there's not another significant move of a trade or signing before the start of the season. Well, we're 8 days before they leave for Korea. And unless something happens, this is the roster. So they don't have time. They need guys to perform right away. And they're not spending any money. None. All this money that they said that they saved on the Juan Soto deal, right? Nothing is being spent. And that is disappointing.
It doesn't even make any sense. I mean, 877-767-4760. It makes sense not to be in on Blake Snell. It makes sense not to be in on Cody Bellinger. It doesn't make sense not to be in on filling regular holes in your lineup. Like, if you don't have a left fielder, go sign a left fielder.
like a Michael Lorenzens of the world or the Tommy Phams of the world, right? You sign those two guys. Do you feel more comfortable about this team going into the season?
Yes, because they're addressing like actual legitimate holes.
Yeah, I would feel better about this roster, but I also don't think that puts those two players puts this team in a situation where it's like, oh, easy postseason.
This isn't like, oh, we canceled out Yamamoto and Ohtani with
Yeah.
Pham and Lorenzen. I mean, that's not that, but also like you got to be able to field a roster that puts you in a position where you're like, you can't be behind the 8 ball from day one. You're like, again, I'm all for playing Jackson Merrill, but that doesn't solve DH. It doesn't solve left field. It doesn't solve fifth starter. Like they got more holes than just Jackson Merrill, even if they plug Jackson Merrill into the lineup. Let's go to the phones.
AJ's doing what he always has wanted to do, it feels like, with giving all these young guys hey, go out there, right? Not signing players to these big contracts, not filling gaps with one-year deals. Hey, Jackson Merrill's, the Marcy's, the Paul, like, from going down with the ship, I'm going down with my guys.
That's a weird attitude.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Never done it once in his career, and B, if this is your last year, you're going to try to win with young players. You're going to try to win. It's one thing to develop players. It's another thing to win with a core of young players. Let's go to the phones. 877-767-4760. What do you think? I mean, we're 8 days out. They're leaving for Korea. Dave, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in, man.
Hey, thanks, guys. Jim, welcome back.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Good to hear you, man.
Thanks, man.
Great. All right. Listen, and to boot, everything that you both have said, spot on. No question about it. Let's add on a few other things here. First of all, we still don't know what the revenue is going to look like from the TV. They've not announced anything about it. It's not about where you're going to watch. It's how much they're going to get. And that's a $60 to $66 million hole that is yet to be filled. That's a big reason why I think they've been held back this long, this far. Secondly, don't forget, last year, they finished the year financially wanting a $100 million loan to fill expenses that they had, payroll being one of them. Major League Baseball says, no, you're only eligible for 50. That's $100 million that they wanted and they needed. So there's another big red flag. They finished the year, you tell me if I'm wrong, I think including the luxury tax expenses just from payroll last year was somewhere, around 290 or so with the luxury tax?
It was a lot.
It was a good number. Top three.
Yeah. So don't forget, one thing that none of us know about any baseball team is overhead. Overhead expenses are significant. And those things continue with inflation to go through the roof. So when you put all of these little things together in the mixing bowl, you can see why they put the lid on AJ for this year, especially on the television thing, guys. I can't emphasize that enough. I've talked about it a lot with you guys. Don't you find it unusual that we're almost into the season and they haven't figured out the TV yet? That's what's holding them back. That's a $60 to $66 million problem.
Well, thanks for the call, Dave. But they're not going to figure out the TV deal. They've already announced they're doing Padres.TV this year. That's not going to change. And I will continue to say, if AJ Preller spent smarter money, they would not be in this situation, even without the TV deal.
I agree with you, but going from 250 to 150 in payroll in 1 year is very surprising.
It's ridiculous.
Let's sneak in 2 more calls because we have John Fanta coming up in 9 minutes. Let's go to John on line 2. John, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good. Hey, just want to give a shout out to you, John Schaefer, for what a great job you do on Aztec basketball.
I appreciate you, John. And I appreciate you not recognizing Jim for that.
He's okay.
Well, Jim's your partner. I'll give him some love, too.
All right, that's cool. That's nice, John. Yes, I appreciate you, man.
Thank
Seriously.
You.
Hey, you know what? We've tried this stars role where we see if the stars can, really live up to their contract, which I think is tough to do now with what we're paying these guys. But when's the last time we tried to develop some of these really young position players? I can't remember the last time we tried to do that. And we've given away a lot of good, minor league guys that haven't been brought up to our major league club yet. And one that sticks in my craw a little bit is Rizzo, that we really didn't give him a full chance before he went on and to do quite well. But we did last year with the Stars. It just didn't pan out for some reason, and that was a heck of a lot of money for a fail. And I give Preller a little bit of fault on some of his trades, but man, the players got to produce.
No,
For
you're
the
absolutely
money they're
right, John.
getting,
You're
they
absolutely right.
gotta
Thanks for the
produce.
call, John. And look, I get what you're saying. Like, when's the last time the Padres, with this iteration, really went to the development? We're just going to give these guys ample opportunity. Here's the problem.
When they sucked.
Yes. And here's the problem. It didn't work then. And now you're not in a situation where you can afford to just give away years of Manny Machado's career and Xander Bogaerts' career and Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish.
That's why I think it's a curious idea. If this is AJ Preller's concept, I think it's interesting.
They are in the win now mode with those guys. And now is the time to do the youth movement.
One makes sense with Merrill. If it's Merrill and Marcy and Paulie,
Yeah, I was still concerned about Merrill, but you're right. If it was one guy, okay. But it's like going to be like five.
We'll see how
5
many.
or 6.
All right, we've got about 60 seconds here before John Fanta joins us on the other side from Fox Sports. Jerry, thanks for calling in. You're on with John and Jim.
Yeah, we're going to finish dead last, tied with the Rockies.
How many wins?
How many wins? How many wins, Jerry?
How many wins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe 75 wins.
Okay.
I thank you, Jerry. I mean, I don't see the Rockies winning 75 games. I think the
hoping he said
Padres will
69,
win more than 75 games, but we could get back into it. John Fanta from Fox Sports will join us on the other side. March is here. Aztecs play tonight against UNLV. Let's talk about the state of the Mountain West. How many teams are going to the NCAA tournament? What's the ceiling for the Aztecs in the tournament from a seeding perspective and more? The great John Fanta, great insider and voice on college hoops, will join us next on John and Jim. All right, speaking of the Aztecs and John Fanta from Fox Sports joining us on the other side, maybe you're looking for a place to watch tonight's huge game. And you can do that over at Novo Brazil Brewing in Mission Valley. Watch party going on tonight. San Diego State, UNLV. They've got so many great area spots here in San Diego County. I've been to them all. They're spectacular. They've got that brand new limited edition product that they've worked on with the Mesa Foundation Collective that benefits San Diego State men's and women's basketball players, that was taste tested by Aztecs, Jalen Ledee and Lamont Butler and Micah Parrish and others. Brand new, co-branded, available now, the Aztecs Raspberry Kombucha. They've got great locations throughout the county, whether it's Otay Ranch with the massive LED screens, the IB spot, which is terrific, and their brand new spot in Mission Valley, again, that has that watch party tonight for the big game, 350 seats, indoor, outdoor, full bar menu, 60 taps of Novo Brazil beer. They have the kombucha we've told you about. They have seltzers, but it's great for the whole family because of the food options. Great, healthy food, whether it's sandwiches and salads, tacos and burgers, empanadas, Brazilian-inspired entrees, and much, much more. Get to any of these area locations, including tonight. For more information, visit novobrew.com. That's novobrew.com.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings. We'll start with the Aztecs tonight. They take on UNLV, 8 p.m. tip-off in Las Vegas, 7:30 pregame right here on San Diego Sports 760. Cactus League played today. Padres lost to the D-backs 5-3, and the Padres have signed Brad Miller to a minor league contract. AJ Caswell reported he has a chance to vie for a bench spot on the major league roster. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with Code Sports, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
San Diego State tonight, 8 o'clock in Vegas against a red-hot UNLV team. Rebels have won 9 of 10. We have that for tonight at 8. Our pregame coverage will begin at 7:30. Jim is back.
Yes.
Basically the lead.
Then I'm gone tomorrow.
You're gone.
And then I'm back, and then I'm gone Friday.
Did you consider taking the week?
This is going to be a very, very tough week for me, guys.
What do you mean a tough week for you?
I'm kidding.
Oh.
It's like the easiest, weirdest week of work ever. Off Monday, back Tuesday. Off Wednesday, except it's because I get like something. Then I'm on Thursday. I'm off Friday in Las Vegas doing God knows what.
Must be nice. All right, March is here.
It's kind of nice.
Aztecs are playing tonight in Vegas against UNLV. UNLV's red hot. John Fant of Fox Sports, kind enough to join us once again, Jon and Jim in San Diego. As good of a voice as there is in the nation on college hoops, Fox Sports broadcaster, the best time of year for John, for people like myself, for college hoops fans. John, it's great to have you back. A year ago, we had you on this time of year. We're talking to San Diego State. I mean, this is the beauty of the tournament. Nobody's projecting a run to a national championship game, yet runs happen. San Diego State made one a year ago. So here we are a year later. How do you feel about San Diego State today as we approach Selection Sunday and March Madness?
Yeah, it's great. I think how I project it, well, they're still one of the best defensive teams in the country, elite on that end of the floor. And I think when you look at this year, I think that they're more dangerous on the offensive end. They might be giving up a little bit of defense, but they've compensated with their ability to be a little bit more efficient offensively. And you look at what they've done. They lose a narrow one at Utah State. There's no shame in that, but they commanded New Mexico. They commanded Colorado State. They're so tough at the AHAS. I think this is a really interesting week for them because they could use a road win, in my opinion. Road wins do so much in college basketball. They really do. And it's been a little bit since San Diego State had a marquee road win. And I think that for them, they lost at Colorado State, they lost at Boise State, they lost at New Mexico, and the Mountain West is good. It's really, really good. It's having a banner year, and I think that speaks volumes about San Diego State. That they always have the target on their back, but tonight UNLV's playing well. They've got a lot of talent, but I think what I like about this San Diego State team is, when I look at them offensively, at the end of the day, they have a first-team All-American candidate in Jaden Ledee. Reese Waters was a great portal lad, and they just piece it together from there. And I think it's important for Waters to be able to knock down threes. Same goes for Micah Parrish because it opens up that offense. But the standard stays the same, and I do feel as though this team go on a run. You know why? They rebound the heck out of the basketball. They really don't turn the ball over. And they're very efficient in how they play, and they have a stud. They have one of the best players in America in Ledee. So my forecast is I feel like San Diego State can go on a run. There's no definitives in the tournament because you don't know what your draw is going to be. And last year it was a magical run. Do I see back-to-back? Don't know about that, but here's what I do know. You got guys in that locker room who know what it takes.
You hit on the Mountain West a little bit there, John, about how good you think it is. How would you stack it up with the rest of the conferences, the big-time conferences around the country?
Well, I would put the Big 12 1. I'd put the SEC 2. I'd put the Big East 3. And I put the Mountain West at 4.
All right.
I think it's a top 4 league, and there are nights where I think it's a top 3 league in America. I would take the Mountain West to Big Ten this year because I just think it's deeper with quality. I think that this league did a masterful job in non-conference play of building up a profile, of getting good wins, and of putting themselves on the national map. You have to seize those opportunities when you get them. And that's what this league has been able to do with the likes of San Diego State. I think Boise State's one of the most underrated teams in America. I'm buying them, at 21-8. I think they're a good defensive team. I think Dagan Hart, their star, is a big time player. And you have one of the best guards in the country in Isaiah Stevens. You have a New Mexico backcourt and Jamal Mashburn Jr. and Jalen House make special things happen. Nevada's a team that people are sleeping on. And oh, by the way, Danny Sprinkle should be National Coach of the Year for the job he's done at Utah State. He inherited nothing. They're 24-5, have won 5 of their last 6 games. So Sprinkle's done an extremely good job with this team of identifying people in the transfer portal. The player that great Osabor has turned into is something. Ian Martinez transferred in from Maryland, who was a great ad. This league has several storylines, several NCAA tournament teams, and high-level talent. So I commend everybody that works in the Mountain West that met with their coaches and said, here's what it's going to take to be successful, because clearly they got the message, and clearly this league has worked together to get 6 potential bids in the tournament.
John Fanta, Fox Sports, with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Do you think it will ultimately be 6? Obviously, New Mexico has struggled a little bit here recently. Their ceiling might be as high as any team in the league. You have UNLV that I think is at least capable of threatening in the Mountain West tournament on their home floor coming up next week. But do you think it's 5 in the end, or do you think it's 6 in the end?
I think it's probably 5. I know that New Mexico's metrics are pretty good, guys, but if you have just one more quadrant 1 win, then you have a quadrant 4 loss. I don't love how that bodes for Selection Sunday. They lost a quad 4 game. They lost a quad 3 game. They have 2 quad 1 wins. That's not a very strong resume. And it could be enough to push them out. If they need the Utah State road game this weekend. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. If they don't win that game, then they need to make a Mountain West tournament. It would be unfortunate because I'm in agreement with you. I think from a talent side, I really like this New Mexico team. I think they can score in bunches. I think they're very dangerous. But I do worry about them because at this point, they've lost 3 of their last 4, and the home loss to Air Force was a destroyer. You can't take a home loss to one of the bad teams in this league, quote unquote, and they did. So they're in a tough spot. Home losses to UNLV and Air Force. UNLV has been surging along, tough team, no question, but they're not a tournament team. They're an NIT team at the moment. Could they make one last push? Maybe make an argument? Yes. We'll see what happens tonight out in Las Vegas when the Aztecs go up against the Runnin' Rebels. But I do think New Mexico is the team that's teetering. They really need that Utah State game. But I got to say, guys, if I'm picking New Mexico at Utah State, I'm taking the Aggies to win that game. And then I think at that point, New Mexico could be in your first 4 out. They could be because they only have 2 Q1 wins, and it's all about who you've beaten. And they've taken a quad 4 loss, which taking a quad 4 loss is like getting a flat tire. It's that bad.
From a national perspective here, John, because you deal with a lot of things on a national level, right? We hear a lot about Gonzaga over the years just because of what they did previously in the tournament, and they're not a traditional Power 5 team. And in San Diego State making the national championship game last year, do you view them on like that same level of like a team when you think like non-traditional Power 5, like, San Diego State, Gonzaga, or do you think they need to have another run this year to really solidify their place, along with Brian Dutcher, who should be talked about more as one of the best coaches in college basketball on a national level? Do they need to do another and have another run this season to really solidify their place as like San Diego State? That's the first thing when you hear their name is, okay, they're a traditional Power non-Power 5 team that should be a Power 5 team, in the future?
I'm so glad you asked the question. And that's why I love coming on your guys' show. Because you know what? No. The answer is no. Brian Dutcher's gone 172-52 as the head coach at San Diego State. He is 120 games over 500. He has gone to the national championship game. They don't need another run. They can go on another run, but they don't need another run. And they'll go on other runs in his tenure. It could be this year, it could be next year. They are an established premier West Coast program and will be for years to come. In my opinion, and in anybody who covers the sport competently, their opinion, San Diego State takes a back seat to nobody now. Nobody. Certainly not Gonzaga, who right now would still be among my last 8 in the field. They're in after beating St. Mary's on the road, but San Diego State takes a back seat to nobody. They are an NCAA tournament powerhouse of a program. You make the national championship game. That was validation for all the work they've been putting in. It was a matter of time until it came, and it arrived. So to answer your question, and I know you guys agree, but you went 30-2 one year. You go 32-7 last season. They don't need to validate themselves anymore. They are a winning program, an NCAA tournament program, and after last year, a program fully capable of a deep run.
Mic drop. This is why we love you, John. I was putting on a T-shirt. San Diego State takes a backseat to no one. By the way, Brian Dutcher with Steve Fisher, as we know, had Sweet 16 runs, had a 1989 national championship at Michigan, had 2 other national championship game appearances with the Fab Five. To your point on 2020, we have no idea. Last year might have been the second in 4 years of San Diego State going to a Final Four.
Yeah.
If 2020 played out, we'll never know. But again, I mean, Brian Dutcher's legacy as a coach at San Diego State, certainly very secure. And that's based on 7 seasons as the head coach on the Mesa. John, real quick before you go, we're up against it. This idea that it's an inevitability that the tournament may expand that Dana O'Neill wrote about yesterday in The Athletic. What are your thoughts on the idea of going from 68 to potentially 72 or more?
No more than 76. I wish we kept it the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The same people who are toying with college football are trying to toy with the best postseason in the world.
Yep.
Toying with college football was needed. Toying with college basketball is not needed. It's honestly sad that there are people that are going to stranglehold this kind of power to put a mediocre high major in the NCAA tournament only to see them lose. I looked at the last 4 in if they expanded to 96, and we got teams like Maryland and Butler, teams that are well under 500 in their league. I'm sorry, but that's not the postseason we were born and raised on. I still think this has a long way to go. I think it's inevitable they get to 72 or 76 because it's greed. But at a certain point, just let March Madness be what it is. We know it's going to pay for play. It already has, but don't take away the best postseason that you've got going in college sports. Keep it the way it is. If you have to go to 76, that's fine. There's no need for more than that. I'm all for the madness, but there is such a thing as too much of it, and there is such a thing as it being diluted. Let it be the beautiful thing it is. The fact that these people, and we all know who they are. I'm not going to name names, but the football powers that be think it's all cool and grand to change up the NCAA tournament. Come on. It's the best thing in sports. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well said. Completely agree. John Fanta, Fox Sports. Always great to get your perspective, especially this time of year. We're looking forward to the next couple of weeks, Selection Sunday and what's to come. And thanks for joining us in San Diego, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Look forward to doing it again.
All right, John Fanta. We'll react. Plus, again, more of your reaction to what we were talking about earlier about the need for the Padres to fill holes, or do they have those needs, or should they rely on young talent? Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, Windmill Farms, if you're looking for the perfect lunch spot, then you are in luck because they have it for you, lunch or dinner. I'm going to be over there on Friday before San Diego State's senior night against Boise State picking up lunch. And your eighth sandwich is free with a sandwich card. I just picked up a free sandwich over at Windmill Farms, in fact. They've got an amazing deli, quick, easy, affordable, fresh, high quality ingredients, healthy. Everything you could possibly want, they have for you. So pick up a sandwich card, get your eighth sandwich free. Check out their deli with award-winning sandwiches. But again, if you have grocery needs, Windmill Farms is the spot for you. Centrally located, right in the college area, they have everything you need: organic, farm fresh produce and meats. Amazing craft beer selection you need to see. The Trevor and his family, they've been in this business for over 2 decades. They support local businesses. Harris Ranch, Mr. G Salsa. You don't even have to live or work in the college area because you can find them on Instacart. Have your groceries delivered directly to your doorstep. And each and every week on Instagram and at windmillfarmsmarket.com, you can find their weekly specials as well. But hope to see you over there this weekend. The perfect lunch spot is right here in San Diego at Windmill Farms. And shop local, shop at Windmill Farms. for a second here on tonight for San Diego State. And by the way, Jeff Smith, Mesa Foundation, they did this really cool partnership with blenders over the weekend. They sold out.
Did you get some?
Yeah, of course. I picked them up online. Yeah, of course. Did you?
No, because
Because what?
when did it go? It was on Friday, right?
It went on sale March 1st. Yes,
That was
Friday.
Friday, yeah. No, I didn't pick any up.
Next time.
Next time.
So they had this limited edition
I have
release.
I have so many pairs of sunglasses, and I'm like,
So you have the Prime sunglasses, but you weren't going to go get the sunglasses that support San Diego State student athletes.
well, here's the thing. I hate you.
But you're supporting Shedeur Sanders and his father, and that's which is good. I'm glad they've had that success.
I view it as I'm supporting a local business in Blender
You are. I'm kidding.
more than anything.
I'm kidding.
And I knew those were going to sell out, the Aztec sunglasses. Like, I knew they were, so I wasn't worried.
You weren't worried because you knew they were going to sell out, so you weren't going to get them?
As far as like supporting and like making sure like you support. Like,
Right. You knew that the support was going to come in.
Yeah.
And you were right. They sold out in like 24 hours.
Maybe less than that.
But here's my point about tonight for San Diego State at UNLV. Would you agree with this? That I think that if San Diego State wins its last two regular season games tonight and then Boise, those are two really good wins. Tonight against UNLV, they've won 9 of 10. Boise, because they've played really good basketball here recently, they've won 5 straight. I think the Aztecs essentially lock up a number 4 seed in the NCAA tournament if they win these next two games. However, there's a caveat. I think that if they lose tonight or lose to Boise State, I think it's going to be hard to get back to the 4 line. So, like, it's either win these games and be a 4 seed or lose one of these games, and I think you might be ticketed for a 5 seed. Not that there's anything wrong with it. They were a 5 seed last year. They went to a national championship game. How do you see it? Have you been crunching the numbers while at the doctor over the last 96 hours or no?
Not really, but
Okay.
we've talked about it that they need, as John Fanta said too,
Mhm.
like not really having that road win, like that signature road win in conference. To me, just thinking about it, just on the surface, not crunching the numbers and looking at the net rankings and all this stuff like
Yeah.
that. It just feels hard to envision them being a 4 seed without one road conference win of significance.
Yeah, it's okay. So let me ask you this then. So you're saying if they win tonight against UNLV,
Yes.
team that's won 9 of 10,
Yes.
that is at the top of the conference in the standings. They're not one of the teams ticketed for the NCAA tournament. But does this check that box for you then?
I think it checks. I mean, it's the only opportunity they have left, so
Correct.
it has to either check the box or not. And I feel like it would pretty close to check the box. And again, you beat UNLV tonight, and then Boise State on Friday night, senior night,
Mm-hmm.
and you get into the Mountain West Conference tournament. Say you don't get to the finals,
Yeah, I don't think you have to do anything.
you get to the semis.
I don't even know if you need to get to the semis.
Say you win one game,
Okay, that's getting to the semis, but yeah.
but still you win a game in the
Mhm.
tournament, and I think that could be enough. But if you really want to like solidify it, at minimum, at worst, getting to the championship of the Mountain West Conference tournament, I think would solidify a 4 seed.
Well, do you then agree that if they lose tonight and win out, so hear me out, lost to UNLV, beat Boise, won 3 games in 3 days in Vegas.
It would look better to the selection committee. Like the last thing they see is the Aztecs winning another Mountain West Conference tournament.
So you think that's better than winning the next 2 games and winning a game or 2 in Vegas and then losing? I could argue that it's better to win now than then because the bracket becomes more set as you approach Selection Sunday.
Yeah.
But maybe it's splitting hairs. I think winning tonight goes a long way to solidifying San Diego State on the 4 seed line in the NCAA tournament. And that's why it's important.
But isn't UNLV a team that's like probably not going to make the tournament?
They're not going to make the tournament unless they win the Mountain West tournament.
So why would it do more for them if they won tonight against a team that's not going to make the tournament unless you win the conference, unless you win the tournament title? Then not. Like what's
like Jon Fanta said, road wins are critical. They could use another. UNLV's won 9 of 10. Metrically, it's a good win, not a great win. It's just like hammering the nail. It's just like solidifying your place, I think, in the bracket by winning tonight. I think you slip up tonight, you give the committee a reason to drop you back a seed line. and not necessarily considering you to go back to the 4 seed line, if that makes sense.
Okay, just win. Just
win. It's simple. Just win.
I mean, just win.
Pre-game coverage at 7:30. Ted Leitner on the call at 8 p.m. San Diego State, UNLV, myself and Ben Fletcher will have the countdown to tip-off. On the other side, we will get to the wrap. Still ahead, by the way, your chance to win tickets to the Shamrock St. Patty's Day Music and Beer Festival. We'll give those away in the 4 o'clock hour. Jeff Smith, president of the Mesa Foundation, will join us at 4:30 as we look ahead to tonight for San Diego State. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Aztecs take on UNLV tonight in Las Vegas. Both teams are 11-5 in conference play. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. Our pregame coverage starts at 7:30 right here on San Diego Sports 760 with John and Fletch. Cactus League play today. Padres lost to the D-backs. Darn it, 5-3. But good news, Padres fans, they have signed Brad Miller to a minor league contract. AJ Cassville is reporting he has a chance to vie for a bench spot on the major league roster. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Jeff Smith, Mesa Foundation will swing by at 4:30. We'll talk about these last 2 regular season games for the Aztecs. We'll talk about their partnership with Blenders that's been complete and utter success from the past week and what they have going on this weekend coming up as well. So Jeff Smith will join us at 4:30. You know how every single time Jackson Merrill gets a base hit this spring, we get a tweet or an X from
Anybody?
Ben Fadden talking Friars, like
the greatest single in the history of
suck
like
it.
baseball.
At John Schaefer,
Yeah,
at Jim
suck it,
Russell, as Dan.
I do want to clear that up. And I think you do too.
No, that's not what I want to do at all.
Okay, then what do you want to do?
Here's what I'm going to, you can clear it up on the other side. Here's what I want to do. So what Ben is saying is, hey, look at Merrill. He's having a nice spring. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. He's 6 for 22. He's at like 260 or 270, whatever it is. Okay, we're going to say that Merrill's numbers this spring matter. Then they matter for everyone, right? They must, because if they matter for Merrill, how come I'm not hearing people say, well, you know, Xander is 2 for 17. Manny's 2 for 19. No, it doesn't. They're veterans. It's spring training, John. It doesn't matter. But have you seen Jackson Merrill? That matters what he's doing. Avila doesn't matter. Does he struggle? Doesn't Joe? Oh, he's fine. He's a veteran. But Merrill, this is very telling. His 6 hits, 5 singles have been so telling. Like I told you guys, this was such a surefire can't miss, has to be on the opening day roster, that all of his hits are so important. Everything else that's happened this spring, don't worry about it. Has no value. But Merrill, wow. You can't have it both ways. It either doesn't matter or it matters.
The start of spring training, I said, if Merrill makes this team, which I would be utterly shocked if he doesn't.
He's made the team.
He's on the team. But because this team had so many holes and they're giving Jackson Merrill these opportunities, you know, starting in left field, and now he's going to be this team's center fielder. I said, I want to see him this spring literally kick that door down.
Okay.
Force his way onto the roster. Do things where you're like, okay, yeah, he's got to be in the big league roster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no doubt about it. There's no question. Chris Paddock did that in 2019, made the opening day roster. Fernando Tatis did that in 2019, even though his numbers weren't great. I mean, at 241 with like a 770 OPS in spring in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
But there were moments in 2019 where you're like, whoa, like it just different. You could just see it. He was doing things that you're like, okay, yeah, come on. Why are we? This team's not expected to win because 2019, I don't think anybody thought going into that year the expectations to make the postseason, no chance. So that's why for Tatis on the roster, it made sense that year because you can give him the time to develop. Same thing with like Chris Paddock. I know he fizzled out and he's like out of baseball now. But anyway, using Tatis as the example here, was the 2019 team expected to make a postseason appearance? No. They were not.
Correct.
Even though they had signed recently Manny Machado and they had Eric Hosmer on the team. But the rest of that roster, like, no. And I know that Peter Seidler was on with Darren earlier that year before the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you know, if Tatis wasn't on this roster, we would be kicking ourselves if we missed the postseason by a couple games.
Yep. Yeah, I remember
they missed the postseason by like 30 games that year.
Mm-hmm.
And so it not only did it feel like Tatis needed to be at the big league level, it was okay. It was like, okay, you can give him time to develop. This team is not expected to make a postseason run or even be in the postseason or even contend for potentially a World Series at all. So if this team goes 30 games under 500, they missed the postseason by 1,000,000 games. What did Tatis do? That's all I really care about.
You're saying this team's different?
This team is different. They don't, because I see a lot of like, well, look what Tatis did, blah, blah, blah. It's like, this team does not have, you cannot afford to win only 75 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a team that's built, even though they have a lot of holes, built to where at the end of the year, people are going to be okay with saying, yeah, you know what? It was a transit. It was fine. It doesn't matter if they won 79 games and they'd missed the postseason again. And it's fine. It doesn't matter. New manager. It's okay. We had a lot of young guys on the team. No. Do you think any fan will be okay saying that?
No, I don't. I agree with what you're saying because, yeah, we're saying that Merrill on this team needs to be a guy that helps them win. It's not an afterthought. It's not a development year. That's not what they're telling us. We may think it. It's not a transition year. He has to contribute in a meaningful way in terms of leading to wins. Like he's got to help this team win. You don't start 155 games just because they have a need. Like he's got to help them win. And maybe he is that guy. We all agree, me and you included, he's going to be on the opening day roster. We're not making the point of don't put him on the opening day roster. I'm making the point of you're asking a lot of him by putting him on the opening day roster. And this is their own fault because this is the path they're going down. Maybe he proves me wrong. I will raise my hand if that happens. If he hits 294 and has an OPS of 811 and hits 20 home runs this year and helps guide this team to the postseason by his doing, then I hope I'm wrong. I hope that happens. But what if the opposite happens? What if he struggles? What if the team doesn't play well? What if they've moved him off a position and asked him to hit at the big league level before he's ever played in AAA or play the position? And to your point, okay, if you grab the bull by the horns, cliche, and I don't even care about the spring training numbers because that's my point. Nobody's talking about Machado struggling or Bogart struggling. So why do we care that Merrill is 6 for 22? Merrill could be 22 for 22. He hasn't proven to me that he can do it at the big league level.
And if at the end of the season, this team wins 79 games, but Jackson Merrill does have a really good year. I think we talked about this on the wrap-up show.
Mm-hmm.
If they win 78 games, but Jackson Merrill's the rookie of the year, I think AJ Preller would be sitting down in his office, even though I think he would still be on the hot seat for not making the postseason. But I think he'd be like, you know what? I'm happy because Jackson Merrill was the rookie of the year.
But, Eric Katsenda said we're all accountable to the team's performance.
And it would be a good thing, obviously. But then you're just wasting a year of these guys that you have under big-time contracts. The Mannies, the Bogarts, Musgrove, Darvish. Like, you're just wasting years if you don't go to try to attack a season to make a World Series run instead of just saying, oh, it's a transition year. Like, transition year, bro. How could you say that when you don't have guys on this roster viewing it as such?
I guess my question is this, Jim, and then we can get to the wrap. Like, why do we have to pretend like Jackson Merrill is doing things that other people aren't doing? Why can't we just say, he's not, hey, he's a top prospect.
Yeah.
He's going to be needed on this team. He hasn't fully earned it, and that's okay. They've put him in the spot. And why can't we just say he's 6 for 22 with 5 singles?
He's a guy that
has a 650 OPS. And why can't that be enough? But did you see the stolen base, Jim? Did you see how hard he hit the single through the left side? I don't understand why we need to do that. Like, okay, he's going to make the team.
I am cautiously optimistic about Jackson Merrill, but anybody out there saying that he has proven anything is an idiot. Sorry.
And you don't know baseball.
Sorry, because he hasn't.
What is that from the Great Lakes?
You're an
Valley
idiot,
Sports?
you don't know baseball. But I mean, it's like a fact. It's not an opinion. It's a fact. He hasn't proven anything yet. I am cautiously optimistic that eventually he will prove that he can play in the outfield and go out there and be a contact hitter, which he seems like he could very well be. Don't know much about the power that he could bring to the table because he hasn't really shown it at all. Like, that's a little concerning if you're going to have a center fielder that's just a slap hitter and singles guy. Like, I need a little bit of pop in the outfield, right? But, hey, get to the big leagues, which he will on opening day, play good center field. You don't have to play spectacular. Just make the right plays, make the routine plays in center. Don't try to do anything you're not capable of doing, and put together good at-bats. If he does that, that's great. But like, to say that he's proven that he can be this guy yet, I mean, it's just No, he hasn't. And
You're an idiot and you don't know baseball.
exactly.
No, I'm high in his future, like most should be high in his future. But there's a difference between there's like short-term, medium-term, and long-term investment. His short-term prospects to me don't equal his mid-term, like long-term investment. Like his 2024 is not what I expect him to be in 2026. So if you're expecting him in 2024 to provide the level that you're going to hopefully see from him 3, 4, 5 years from now, it might be a little wishful thinking.
It's just, and it is wild that, doesn't it feel, because this is how I feel. It feels to me that they just gave him this position. Now, I know that behind the scenes, he's doing things that are definitely impressing them, and we see it in print, right? But doesn't it feel like before he has really kind of stood out, that they just have given him this position?
And you know what? It does. It does. Not to say, listen, I'm all for seeing someone's upside.
Yeah.
Like I get it. I'm not banking everything on, here's his A-ball OPS or here's his spring training numbers. And I'm all for projectability.
Yeah.
Like this guy might project to be
He might be doing things behind the scenes that we
player.
can't see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He probably is. He probably is.
According to everyone who's writing about him.
But why do we need to like hammer home the point of, oh my gosh, have you seen this kid?
Have you seen what he did? No,
we haven't yet seen him. That's the thing. Like we need to see what you're telling me he's doing. I haven't yet seen it. I'm being honest. Him tracking back in a ball in center field to make a catch is not the differentiating factor between winning 80 games and winning 85 games.
Yeah.
It's just not.
It's what he does at the plate when he's in the midst of a 2 for 25 slump in June.
Yeah. Can he move the runner? Can he avoid the strikeout? Can he avoid grounding into a double play? That's a great point.
We know in baseball, the mental aspect of the game,
It's most of it.
it's insane. When he goes to the plate and he sees on the scoreboard, he's hitting 173 with an OPS of 610. Do you think that doesn't get into a player's head? I'm not saying he's going to do that. I'm just giving an example of like, if he happens to be struggling, or we've seen many examples of players that go to the plate, look up at the scoreboard, they see their batting average, and it just gets in their head and it affects them, right? You go to the plate, you see you're hitting 293 with an OPS of 842.
Yeah, it feels good, right?
You're like, I'm the man.
Yep.
But when you go to the plate and you look at the scoreboard and you're hitting 210 with an OPS of like 610, it might get to you a little bit. And also when you're like in the midst of potentially a slump in the box.
I get you. Yes, because my point is this: don't put unfair expectations on him.
No, that's the
like
last thing
this
you wanna
idea
do.
that we're inflating him to, oh my gosh, his play in center field has been phenomenal, and his plate discipline has just been remarkable. Let him be him. Like you can't ask him to be the middle of the order, run producing player that some of these other guys who have been in the big leagues for 10 years weren't on the Padres in 2023. Let him be him, is what I would say. I don't know why we have to make something out of him before he's been that for himself, is my point. Let's get to this.
Is tonight a must-win game for the Aztecs?
Ooh.
It's not a must-win game, but it's
New one.
It's yeah, right. It would be a nice win for sure, but it's not a must-win game. I think it's one of those games where it, like we talked about, it helps you in the long run. But if they lose, it's not like they're not going to make the Mountain West Conference tournament or the NCAA tournament, because they will both.
Right.
That from that aspect, it's not a must-win game. From other things that we've discussed, you could argue it's a must-win game. Yeah.
Regular season title, yes.
Yeah.
4 seed in the NCAA tournament, I'm going to argue yes. I think
Okay.
you need this win to lock down a 4 seed, potentially in the NCAA tournament. So I'm with you. From a sheer continue your season into mid to late March, no, it's not a must win. But to accomplish all of your goals, regular season titles and top 4 seeding possibilities in the NCAA tournament, it's up there. It's close to a must win. Next question.
Texas quarterback Arch Manning has opted out of the new EA Sports college football video game. Will you still buy the game?
No, I'm out. Without
Yeah,
Arch Manning, no thanks.
I mean, I can't play a game when the quarterback for Texas' name's
Backup.
Arch Smith. Like I can't do that.
I don't even know if they'll do that, but yeah.
No, they would. They would make.
Will they
him-
use his name?
They
No,
can't anymore.
No. Arch Smith is not
Right,
Or they
right.
use like John Smith,
Right, or March.
Yeah, John
Yeah.
Smith or
Well,
whatever.
that's pretty much what they did last
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Though.
But this is to me. This is like, bro, know your role. You're a backup quarterback. You've played what, like
Few
one
snaps.
series in college already. You're not the what. Like,
And he's doing tens of thousands in NIL.
give me a break. Isn't it wrong of me to like kind of like want to see him kind of fail?
because of this?
No, not because a little bit
A
because
little
of
bit.
this.
Well,
Interesting.
According to him, his reason for opting out is
Concentrate, right?
No, because he doesn't want to. He said he wants to be in the game when he's the man, not when he's a.
I saw that too. He wants to be
the
the starter. He's the backup right now.
And he
A
doesn't
year
wanna-
from now, maybe he's the starter.
Yeah.
Translation: they're not paying me enough money. Which again,
Well,
you're
that's
a
the other
backup,
thing, though.
bro.
They said he turns down tons of NIL. They said he
Yeah, I
only
saw
he
that.
has like one major NIL with like a trading card company, and that's it.
I think financially he's all right.
He's gonna be fine.
Part of the Manning fortune.
He's-
10,000 players have opted in.
I know, dude. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's unique. I mean, some of the game's best players in college football have already opted in.
Yeah.
Arch Manning, I don't think is the reason why people aren't going to buy the game. Maybe if you're a Longhorn fan, but
I would buy the game if nobody opted in, right, Brent? Like,
Yeah,
if they
it
still have the
wouldn't
teams and
matter
everything.
to me.
Yeah,
I don't care who's in the game.
right.
It doesn't matter if Shedeur Sanders is in the game or not.
Is
It
Shedeur
doesn't-
Sanders committed to the game?
They didn't say. The
Yeah, they don't know
quarterback
as of
did,
yet.
All
Hunter
I care
is.
about, which I think maybe a lot of people care about, I think Brent included, the only thing I care about with the new NCAA 24 is
Five.
25. Do you have all the schools? Do you have all the stadiums? And do you have like sweet career modes and, things that you can do in the game? I don't care about any
Yeah, but they
players.
say if it's in the game, it's in the game. But Arch Manning,
I don't care. Arch
Right.
Manning, bro, throw a pass first before you start like putting yourself on this pedestal.
next question.
and they got rid of that slogan a couple years ago.
I like
too.
that slogan though.
I did too.
Yeah.
Is a 4 seed or a 5 seed more likely for the Aztecs in the NCAA tournament?
A 4 seed is very high. And
The selection committee said 4 seed.
if they don't run the table though, then it's hard for me to put them in a 4 seed.
Okay.
I think a 5 seed is more likely. And that's fine because they made the national championship as a 5 seed last year.
No, your point's valid. I think to lock down a 4 seed, you need to win the final 2 regular season games, and maybe you need to do more. But I don't think it's going to be an easy path to a 4 seed without winning tonight against UNLV. So I'm 50-50 on it. A lot of it's contingent on tonight. I think they beat UNLV tonight. They'll be a 4 seed. I think if they don't beat UNLV tonight, they'll likely be a 5 seed. That's how I see it. Last question.
Will you be disappointed if the Padres don't sign Tommy Pham?
I'll be disappointed if they do nothing
Mm-hmm.
all offseason. I don't know. Well, from the beginning of January to right now, which has been over 2 months,
Right?
we have been hammering home they can't just not do anything, right? We are potentially going to be reaching that point when we get to opening day in Korea where we'll be saying, oh, they didn't do anything.
Well, hold on. You saw the Woosuck Go move?
You know,
Did you see the Profar signing?
you know what I mean, John.
Did you see the Yuki Matsui deal?
Anything of significance
Did you see Brad Miller? Have
for
you
this lineup.
Those blockbusters.
Were you on
For
the
this
internet?
lineup.
Brad Miller?
Brad Miller?
No, you're right. I mean, they haven't.
For
It's
this
not.
lineup.
It's not like resting on laurels. I don't think that's at all what they're doing. But what is the reasoning behind the lack of spending? Because they don't have it. I mean, what is it? Is it because the right player, the right fit isn't available to them? Is it because they're outside the budget of players like Blake Snell and Cody Bellinger? Understood. But what about that next tier player? What about just a fifth starter that's available as a free agent that makes $10 million a year? What about an outfielder that makes $6.5 million?
They don't have the money.
It's as simple as that.
I-
They're out of money.
Preller put them in this position by giving away really bad contracts. And we'll never know last year if those bad contracts, Xander Bogaerts, like were given because of certain circumstances with Peter Seidler. But AJ put this team in this mess. And now it's up to him to fix it. But yet when he tries to fix it, everyone's like, oh, it's great. He did such a great job. Such great. Like you know, he put them in this position. So I really don't think they have any money. And that's a far cry from what they were telling us when they traded Juan Soto, that they traded Juan Soto to free up some money to go out and spend on the rest of the roster to fill the holes,
Right.
which they haven't done, which doesn't make any sense.
All right, we'll get back to in the 5 o'clock hour. Jeff Smith, Mesa Foundation. We'll talk about the importance of tonight for San Diego State, this recent partnership with Blenders that has been so well received, the event they have going on this weekend as well. So we'll talk to Jeff Smith about San Diego State hoops. We have a great giveaway for you this hour as well, your chance to win tickets to the St. Patty's Day Music and Beer Festival, March 16th. So stay with us. Jeff Smith, Mesa Foundation, getting us ready for tonight. San Diego State and UNLV. He'll join us next. Right? Like during your day, you're looking for a snack to curb hunger that is healthy, right? It's so easy to go to the vending machine to pick something up, but you're looking for something healthy. You have to consider our brand new partner here on Jon and Jim, Almond RX. Okay. I've tried them, they're spectacular. My 4-year-old today, on the way over to school, Jones, had a pack of Almond RX. It is a healthy snack for the entire family that curbs hunger. If you're looking for something just like that, look no further than Almond RX, okay? Founded by a San Diego sports medicine physician, Almond RX is packed with a powerhouse of nutrients and antioxidants, supporting heart, cellular, gut health, amongst several other healthy benefits. You can find Almond RX at any Foodland in San Diego County. They're at Harvest Ranch in Encinitas or at almondrx.com. Again, check them out at almondrx.com. By the way, free shipping on orders of $25 or more. But you're going to love them. They're healthy because I find myself going over to the vending machine during the day. We're working from 3 to 6. It's so easy to do, but you don't need junk food in your diet. You need something that's an immunity booster, that's going to curb hunger, that's going to last for hours. You need to try these. They're skinless, they're healthy, they're a terrific snack for you and your entire family. Again, almondrx.com. Free shipping on orders over $25. Go there right now. Almond, ALMOND, RX.com.
This update's brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Aztecs take on UNLV tonight, 8 p.m. tip-off in Las Vegas. 7:30 is when our pregame coverage starts with Fletch and John right here on San Diego Sports 760. Cactus League play today. Padres, they dropped one to the D-backs 5-3. Padres, though, they did make a move. They signed Brad Miller to a minor league contract. AJ Caswell's reporting he has a chance to vie for a bench spot on the major league roster. Yay. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season. Bless you. With code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Achoo. Sneeze.
Ah.
All right, a couple of big ones coming up for the Aztecs this week, including tonight. We'll get into it with Jeff Smith, Mesa Foundation momentarily. San Diego State UNLV tonight from Vegas at 8 p.m. Critical game for the Aztecs. It's always good to have Jeff Smith with us, president of the Mesa Foundation. They're doing incredible work right now with this collective, benefiting San Diego State men's and women's basketball players, including this unique partnership. It's hard not to see what they've done with Blenders here over the last couple of weeks. Blenders and Mesa Foundation partnering on this March Radness campaign. It looks like a highly successful initiative. So, Jeff, as always, we appreciate your time here on San Diego Sports 760. Tell us about this partnership and how it's been received over the last handful of days. And thanks for hopping on.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, as usual. Yeah, Blenders, we've had some really, really great partnerships and would love to talk about others as well. But the Blenders one is pretty amazing. I mean, obviously, Blenders got so much attention during last football season with the effort that it did with Coach Prime. I don't know as many people know that Chase Fisher, who started Blenders, is both a San Diego resident and Blenders is a San Diego business, but also that sorry guys, I got another call coming in.
No worries.
Yeah. But also that he's an Aztec. And so for him, when we first got introduced to Chase, for him, this is one of those, and I think you may have heard him on interviews in the past. This is one of those really cool full circle moments, right? He's an Aztec fan. He's an Aztec himself. When we got introduced to the idea, coming up with something that could benefit the men's and women's basketball student athletes through Mesa was a really, really easy process. And so, yeah, you mentioned the success. I don't think anybody could have expected the success to be what it was, something like all 1,000 pairs of this limited 12 release. It's the 12-year anniversary of Blenders. All 1,000 pairs sold out in less than 24 hours.
Incredible.
So yeah, amazing success. It's amazing partnership. It really helps bring attention to our NIL effort with Mesa Foundation. There isn't a more widely recognizable NIL brand potentially than Blenders and Prime. So we're incredibly excited. Is amazed at the success.
Speaking of the Mesa Foundation and the growth of it, just talk about how big it has gotten since the Mesa Foundation was created and how many things that have happened in just the past year alone to bring awareness to the Aztecs program here and help these student athletes through NIL.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's just kind of the time that's passed. Becoming the first NIL partner of San Diego State was big for us, and I think that was the evolution of the athletic department of the university, seeing how we NIL focus on community, focus on connecting the players with the community through our charity partnerships, and focus on businesses like Blenders and Novo and Woodstock and Sandbox and Broken Yoke and others that have all jumped on board to help out what they all recognize is a really, very important, critical cause, really, in the future success of basketball. So it has grown substantially. From a size standpoint, we were probably first in terms of the Mountain West Conference and jumping in and creating something like the NIL platform that we created. Since that time, again, it's really only 2.5 years since NIL has been introduced in the way that it has, and it's exploded. I think we are now third or fourth in our conference, but I say with total confidence that San Diego is exampled by lenders and some of the other corporate partnerships, but for us, the individuals that are making decisions to join Mesa and recognize that you can't be a passive fan anymore and hope that the success just continues. And so that growth is amazing. We're 2 times the size we were at the end of the first season. I expect for us to be 2 times the size going into summer, and nothing but good things from here with more very, very cool partnerships to announce.
Mesa Foundation SD.org. If you'd like to make a difference, again, with San Diego State men's and women's basketball student athletes, Mesa Foundation SD.org. Speaking of which, for members, you got a really unique event coming up this weekend, right? This is an interesting time. It's March. We've got 2 games this week. They're important. Obviously, they're huge. We can get into them. But then you've got the next week in Las Vegas. What do you have going on this weekend for San Diego State student athletes and members of the Mesa Foundation?
So we focused a lot on trying to give back to the folks that make that active decision to contribute financially to Mesa to grow our NIL response. And so for those folks that have decided to become Mesa members at any one of the levels, starting at as little as $20 a month, we've had multiple very, very cool experiences. The one that we've got coming up on Sunday is really our send-off event for the men's team to postseason. And it's a bowling event held on campus with the players, with the coaches, families from the coaches. It's just going to be a huge party and another opportunity, I should say, for Mesa members to connect, to get to know the players, to get to know the coaches. We talk a lot, as does Coach Dutcher and the coaching staff, about this family and this community and the focus that they have on the type of player and the type of coach. And it really is, you guys have been around the program, it really is a family tight-knit thing. For the people who decide to join, you get pulled into that family. And it's not just cliche, it's not just an attempt at sort of suggesting to people that that's what it's like, but you really get to know the student athletes. You really get to know the coaches when they come to some of these events. And it's neat because all of us are fans and all of us are supporters of Aztec basketball. But, one of the things that's happened with NIL is it's allowed for people to really understand how a team is run, how the coaches go at making this product and delivering the kind of success that they have year after year, and the kind of players that decide to come here and play for those guys.
Getting back to the blenders, I know they're sold out and they were a huge hit, when you guys released them to the public. But for anybody out there that's wondering, like, man, I wasn't able to get these blenders and I really wanted to get them. And I hope they potentially come back with some other types of sunglasses. Is there something in the future where fans that weren't able to purchase this or didn't purchase this because maybe they were too late would get an opportunity in the future to maybe snag up some of these sunglasses?
You may have been eavesdropping on a conversation that I had with Chase yesterday. And nobody could have expected the kind of response and the immediacy of those 1,000 pairs selling out. I know when he and I talked, the thing that he would like to have done differently is, instead of making it 1,000 limited pairs, it would have been 5,000. There was no way to really appreciate the level of support and the connection that the community was going to respond to when they saw these come out. And, they're gone in 24 hours. So bad news is, no, there won't be more coming out in the short run. The good news is there will absolutely be projects down the road, and we will scale up because it's good for blenders, it's good for San Diego, and it's great for NIL and San Diego State.
Love that. Jeff Smith, Mesa Foundation. Again, MesaFoundationSD.org for those that would like to, again, take a look at this in, another capacity. Because, again, NIL is so critically important. You can make a small contribution. Those contributions matter. MesaFoundationSD.org. Jeff, before you go, tonight, Friday, then is senior night. I mean, how do you see this? San Diego State, once again, has had this remarkable year, positioned well for the NCAA tournament and the Mountain West tournament. What's on the line here for you? Like, as just an Aztec basketball fan, how big are these next 2 games for San Diego State?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody probably that we're just sort of collectively holding our breath. But it is it's undeniable that we are in as good of hands that we can be. We know how well prepared these guys are going to be. It is great, although we graduated some key players that were part of last year's historic run. It's great that we have the maturity that's on the team. And one of the things I love every year is watching the evolution of the team. And I think, again, a lot of it goes back to our coaches and the kind of players that we bring here. But to watch the team come together, individual players, and seeing that's extremely mature in short periods of time, all of them coming together at a point that I hope is all at the right stage. So, it's well known that it is incredibly difficult thing to do what we did last year. This conference is like, you can't help but notice that the competitive level of the conference play in the Mountain West is as good as maybe anywhere in the country. But, we know what these guys are capable of. We know how important these games are. I'm watching every second of it tonight. All of Aztec Nation. I absolutely know that all of the Mesa members will be. And I know that a lot of us at the Merrill Brewery in Mission Valley at a watch party location, one of many tonight, watching and cheering on as this team shows what they can do going into the end of the season.
Spectacular place. Get there tonight. Great point. Watch party. Novo Brazil Brewing. Brand new. It's been open a few weeks in Mission Valley. It is spectacular. You can take that from us firsthand. And again, if you want to get involved, Mesa Foundation SD.org. Mesa Foundation SD.org. Jeff, we're excited for March. It's here. We're looking forward to this week and next week and Selection Sunday and beyond. Thanks for hopping on as always, my friend.
Just go Aztecs.
All right. Jeff Smith with the Mesa Foundation. All right. Call right now, Jim. Well, you don't call.
Yeah, I'm on the show.
But for our listeners, call right now if you want a chance to win a free pair of tickets to the Shamrock St. Patty's Day Music and Beer Festival, which is March 16th in the Gaslamp. SanDiegoShamrock.com for tickets. But we have 2 free tickets if you want to play trivia. First 2 callers will be our contestants, 877-767-4760. You need to call right now. Great giveaway. This is coming up in a week. Shamrock St. Patty's Day Music and Beer Festival, March 16th. Call 877-767-4760 if you want a chance to win those tickets and play Trainwreck Radio. That's trivia. Again, 877-767-4760. Call right now. That's next. All right, call right now if you want a chance to win a free pair of tickets to the Shamrock St. Patty's Day Music and Beer Festival. First 2 callers will be our contestants for trivia. The number to call is 877-767-4760. Pick up your phone and call right now. We have 2 free tickets to the Shamrock St. Patty's Day Music and Beer Festival. 877-767-4760. This is March 16th. Downtown. You need to call right now. 877-767-4760. Free tickets for the St. Patty's Day Music and Beer Festival next. All right, so you have to laugh at the renderings that were released today for the Las Vegas A's new stadium on the Strip. I think the son of Merrill Tropicana. Yeah, Jim is spot on.
They look cool. I mean,
there is no chance in hell
0% chance
that these renderings come to fruition. I'm not saying they're not going to build a ballpark because they're going to play somewhere. But this thing is the Sydney Opera House in downtown Las Vegas. And by the way, I don't even think it's a dome, Jim. It's just covered. Like it's open air in Las Vegas where it's 100 degrees in the summer. Am I missing something? That is open air. It's a covered stadium.
It just looks like that thing from Australia.
Yeah, the Sydney Opera House, right? It's like a huge opera house on the Strip. How much is it going to cost to build that roof structure?
You know, it's one thing to just like turn your
amazing.
It's one thing as a like baseball club or professional sports team to turn off all of your comments for your posts.
Social, yeah.
Your social. It's another thing to just like have it be off for your, I mean, there's the comment section is turned off. Who can reply? Accounts the A's mentioned can reply.
Yeah, but you can quote tweet it.
You can
right?
quote tweet it.
So they're not really stopping people from talking about it.
It is. It looks amazing.
Exactly.
I personally think it looks pretty cool.
It does.
The scoreboard is like one of these arches, so it's like an arch that goes over your head.
Yeah, it'd be the biggest scoreboard in Major League Baseball.
But it's like weird. It goes over you. It's like you look up and then you see the scoreboard.
Yeah,
They should have just played in that stupid sphere thing.
right.
And the backdrop, or at least the batter's eye, you see the MGM Grand, and then you see downtown Las Vegas. You see the Statue of Liberty there, and it looks amazing.
Is the Statue of Liberty in Vegas, or is that New York? New York.
New York.
Oh, okay,
They got one of those too.
Okay.
33,000 people is the capacity.
Are we alive back there?
Isn't it weird that the images were provided to the A's by a company called Negative?
Kind of.
But in short, no chance in hell this happens.
No, if they get this thing done, it's not going to look like this.
No chance in hell.
What's the cost? Has anyone said the cost?
$1.4 billion.
Come on.
Not happening.
Not happening.
For somebody who is poor, or not poor, he actually has a lot of money. But for a man in John Fisher who does not want to put any money into this team at all, it is the plot for Major League. You think he's really going to pony up a couple $100 million to help build the stadium?
But the state is, right? He's getting hundreds of millions.
That's my point. Is he would still need to put at least some money in the stadium, not all of it, because if he was asked to build a $1.5 billion stadium, yeah, right.
Well, maybe he'll pay it off like he paid off. Who was the closer that was with the Padres?
Trevor Rosenthal.
Trevor Rosenthal, he gave $10 million to, but he gave him $1 million for 10 years. So maybe if he pays $1 million per year for the stadium, you could pay this off in like 1,500 years. Okay, two other things that you weren't here yesterday and you're not here tomorrow. Would you like to react to the Warriors' blowout loss in Boston? They lost by 52. Steph Curry after the game said, that's what we used to do to other teams, and that's what the Celtics did to us. There's that story. It's choose your own adventure. Do you want to react to the Warriors losing by 52 to Boston? They've beaten 3 teams this year by 50 or more.
Okay.
Or would you like to react to Brandon Staley, the new head coach of the Niners? Or defensive coordinator or owner? I don't even know what his role is. It's critically important, though.
It's a fake job. He got a fake
Why
title.
did they hire him?
He was great at running fakes.
Why did they hire him?
Because the defensive coordinator they hired is a first-year guy. My thinking is they just want to have like someone in the building that's called plays before that can help out in anywhere that's needed on the defensive side. The theory of 2 heads are better than one type of thing, where instead of having one guy that's being, you have another guy there just like helping out. He's an assistant head coach. He's a fake title.
Assistant head coach?
Yeah.
So if Shanahan gets tossed, does that happen in the NFL?
No, he's not going to get fired. But that's my only reasoning behind it. At least he's not the defensive coordinator. He's not calling the defensive plays. If he was, I would lose my mind. It doesn't matter to me. It's fine. Because Brandon Staley was amazing when he was with the Rams and he was the defensive coordinator. Just when he's given the head coach and he's like has to make the calls and he has to give the team speeches, he is a disaster. But as long as he doesn't have to speak to the team or speak to the media or do anything or call, it's fine. Who cares? 22
games to play. The Warriors are the 10 seed in the West. They lost by 52 this weekend in Boston.
I've never cared less about one of my favorite teams losing by that much in my life as I did when the Warriors lost to the Celtics.
So why is that?
Because of the circumstance that it was the last game of a road trip. They already were 3-0 on the trip up until that point. Kind of felt like one of those scheduled losses. The Celtics have won like 12 in a row or whatever. Now, losing by 52, that's not great.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
No one got hurt. Doesn't matter. I mean, do you think they were really like, after they were down by 30, it's like, okay, this thing's over. Who cares?
Sure.
They didn't play any starters in the second half. Didn't matter anyway because they were going to lose that. I mean, they're down like 80-40 at halftime. It doesn't matter. And I think it's a weird feeling. Once your team wins as many championships.
Oh, here we go.
You're just like, those type of losses there, they're like, oh, whatever, it's fine.
So is that what we say? Cowboys won 3 in the 90s.
No.
Who cares?
No. They still have Curry, Draymond, Clay. I know Clay's a shell of himself. Draymond,
do they have
whatever.
any shot in the West?
No.
Okay.
But I don't know. It didn't hit me like some other people that are Warriors fans that were like, that was embarrassing. Like, yeah, it sucked and it was definitely embarrassing, but like, move on. Doesn't matter. Who cares?
All right, the Padres leave for Korea in 1 week and 1 day. What's their biggest need? That'll kick off hour 3 of Jon and Jim. Plus, we're getting you ready for tonight. San Diego State, UNLV, Thomas and Mag off the strip in Las Vegas. Huge game at 8 p.m. Pre-game coverage at 7:30. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
This update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Aztecs take on UNLV tonight, 8 p.m. tip-off. 7:30 is when our pregame coverage starts right here on San Diego Sports 760. Moving over to Cactus League play. Padres lost to D-backs today, 5-3. They also signed Brad Miller to a minor league contract. AJ Caswell is reporting that Brad Miller has a chance to vie for a bench spot on the major league roster. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with Code Sports, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problems, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim. We do have the countdown to tip-off for you tonight at 7:30. San Diego State, a big one in Vegas against UNLV at 8 p.m. with Ted Leitner on the call. Again, pregame coverage, myself and Ben Fletcher will begin at 7:30. What if I told you, all of a sudden you look up at the Cactus League standings, and the Padres are in 7th place?
What?
Yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad either. Now, there's 15 Cactus League teams.
I don't know if that was a word I just said either.
This was a team, Jim, left for dead. They were 0-3 at one point in the Cactus League.
Yes.
People were questioning whether Mike Schilt was the right man for the Cactus League job.
We both were.
Well, since that moment, they're 7-4. If not for the 9-2 Dodgers, how annoying are they? They're even good in the Cactus League.
I hate them.
The Padres are only 3.5 games out of first place right now. They're only 2.5 games out of second place.
I mean, if they were the Mariners right now, who are 1-9,
1-9,
we'd be having some major discussions about this entire organization.
But I mean, 7-7 in the Cactus League. They lost today, right? I don't even know if this includes today, because it says their next game is March 5th.
Who cares?
Which isn't even right. But today they lost. Pedro Avila didn't pitch well.
And the Rockies are 8-4. They be on a magical year. Could it be a magical year for the Rockies?
Could be. Today, nobody really played, right? When you're on the road, the starters aren't playing.
Nobody played today, no.
We're a week out.
Marcy, I think, played. Or Zokar played.
But we're a week out. They're leaving for Korea a week from tomorrow. So whatever their plans are, they're probably making. Like, it's not going to be like, hey, let's just wait till March 12th, and then we'll determine what we want to do. They know their plans. I mean, yeah, are they still signing players? They are. They're adding some depth, potentially. They're adding guys that could vie for bench spots or bullpen spots. They are. Tim LeCastro, outfielder, Brad Miller, potential bench piece. But by and large,
names I'll forget the second they're out of the Padres organization.
No doubt. No doubt about it. But by and large, I think they probably have a feel, or a decent feel, for what they're going to do when they get on that plane on March 13th. And remember, I was listen, I'll take blame here. When you were like, hey, they have 60 days to put this roster together. I'm like, yeah, guess what they'll do over those 60 days? Put the roster together?
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, you can't wait for me to be like, I'm wrong. 60 days have passed.
Keep going.
And it's the same as it was 60 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that they can't win with it. Maybe Merrill's the right guy. Maybe they have their 4th and 5th starters in this system. They could. Matt Waldron's been good.
Yeah.
Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito have certainly shown potential. So maybe they have everything that they need. But you were saying for 60 days out, 90 days out, they got needs. When are they going to address them? Truth be told, those days have passed, and they haven't fully addressed them unless they're going to do it with what they have on site right now.
Before the new year, I was definitely on the side of time. They'll address these needs. This is not like it has to happen right now. They have all of January, February, right? AJ Preller will address these needs. I was definitely on that. That was my stance after the Juan Soto trade, even though I did not like, and still to this day do not like, the Juan Soto trade. Unless my computer turns up the next time. Thorpe, these guys are really good. Still long shot. Hopefully that happens, but just have to wait and see. Yeah, I was definitely on the train of they have plenty of time. Then New Year's hit, and we get to January 3rd, I think was our first show of the year. And
Aaron's like, Happy New Year. Like, no, Aaron, don't say that. Padres have moves to be made.
They don't have a DH. They don't have a left fielder. But the New Year hit, and it just was like, oh, okay, I'm a little concerned now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the concern started to grow and grow and grow and grow.
And I'm like, Jim, they're fine.
Yes, they will have physical bodies out there.
We
like you
forgot the
said.
left fielder.
Oh, no.
The ball's just like loose.
Left fielder. Kevin.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was okay, you're going to have to start hurrying. And AJ Preller, either it was after the Soto deal, towards the end of the year, or it was the beginning of the year. Remember when he came out and he said that, yes,
we're going to look for bargains.
I want to look up this piece because I'm just remembering it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was along the lines of like, not only we're gonna add to this roster, like we're waiting for those bargains to be had, and they haven't done anything.
Well, that's when they struck for Profar.
So okay, $1 million for Profar. Is that the bargain there Preller was talking about?
Are they still waiting for prices to go down?
I heard Kevin on yesterday talk about Tommy Pham. They've been talking for like 2 months. What are they waiting for?
What's Tommy Pham waiting for?
Someone else to come out and give more money to him than the Padres are willing to give him?
Potentially.
Because the Padres, the one thing I've always said about Preller, he draws that line in the sand, and it's very hard for him to cross it unless it's like a Juan Soto deal. Then he might cross the line, and hey, here's James Wood, who might turn into an all-star. But I think at this point in time, there is a definitive line in this sand with money, especially, that he can't go over. And if Tommy Pham's asking for X amount of money, but they're only able to give them Y amount, and he's like, I don't know if I could take that, then the Padres would probably be sitting there, and AJ Preller's probably telling Tommy Pham, look, I can't give you X. I can only give you this.
Well, then let me ask you this. If the outfield, fine. Tommy Pham, line in the sand, we got 6, you want 8.5, sorry. We're not budging. We're not going to give you the $2 million you're asking for. We're going to start Jurickson Profar, Jackson Merrill in 2 of our outfield spots. We're going to DH whom? Maybe Manny.
As Schulte said, it would be like half days for people.
Okay, so no full-time DH.
Okay.
Maybe Manny because he's not in the field initially.
Which is a legit position, by the way, which I think people are forgetting about.
Right, like it's a universal. You use it every game.
Yeah.
So you've got no full-time DH.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a rookie in center field in Jackson Merrill, which we've discussed. That's fine. He's going to make the team.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it. But I guess where I'm lacking comfortability, not sure if it's a word, is that you're pairing Merrill with Profar, where I'm like, you got to upgrade that second position. If you're going to start Merrill from day one, you have to be more proactive around him. Like, it's one thing. You can have that one quote-unquote project in your lineup. That's fine. Most teams may have it. I am reconciled to that fact. But Profar and Merrill start the season and play every single day. And now maybe there's other options. There's guys fighting for jobs. There's the Mercados and the whomever else's. LeCastros, like you said. But
Jacob Marcy.
Again, we're talking about every day in the major leagues. So that's where it's surprising to me. And I'm with you. I think you're probably right. They don't have the money or they're drawing lines in the sand. But to me, it's like if one guy wants 6 or he wants 8 and you got 6, I'm like, I think I'm willing to budge the $2 million to complete my lineup because like I'm incomplete right now. I'm already asking for a lot. DH, Merrill. I can't also just have Jurickson Profar coming off a year in which he didn't do anything.
Fans care about this season. They don't care about 2027, AJ.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They don't care about, I mean, I'm not saying they don't care about Ethan Salas, but my point is that's like, I don't know, worry about this season because this season, the upcoming one, is always the most important season. That's how kind of I view it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a situation where you're telling everyone you expect to contend. And if you're telling everyone you expect to contend and compete for not only the playoffs, but a World Series, then shouldn't you be focused on the roster for this season? And shouldn't you be trying to do everything you possibly can to make this roster good?
Are we missing? Like, are we off here? Are we going to look back on this? It's possible. I mean, we're not soothsayers. We can't predict the future. Are we going to look back at the end of the season and be like, we were flat out wrong?
I hope so.
That like what Kevin told Darren yesterday, they were flat out embarrassed with their performance last year.
Well, they should be. That was an embarrassing season from everybody top to
bottom. Does that alone, when you have Hall of Fame caliber, all-star caliber players, does that alone turn the tide? They won't do it again because they were embarrassed by their play. I think it's a legitimate question.
It is a legitimate question. But how much can those players really do to put the rest of the team on their back and get them to 84, 85 wins to make the postseason.
And that was the question earlier. Is it enough if Machado and Tatis hit and
Like
Musgrove and Darvish perform?
Even if Manny Machado has an MVP type of season, guess what? This team could still win 73 games. It's not.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Yeah,
but you get my point. Is that Mike Trout MVP season? Guess what? Angels suck. Shohei Ohtani MVP season. Angels suck. Manny Machado has an MVP season. Padres could still suck. You need to have a complete roster to get you to the postseason. Manny can't go 3 for 4 every game. He's going to have slumps. Same thing with Tatis. Same thing with Xander.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Hassan Kim. These guys are probably going to have slumps this year, and they're probably going to have slumps altogether at some point.
No, you think they're going to have slumps? Any of the players?
You know what?
On the team?
Probably not, actually.
Not
I think
this year.
every player's going to hit 343.
If it was that easy.
If it was that easy, man, this would be great. But he has never built a cohesive roster. He's not good at roster construction at all. And to your point, like, it is weird how in a year where his job is potentially on the line, it doesn't feel like there's this urgency from him and the organization to make sure that if I'm AJ Preller, like I'm making sure that I'm going to stay around for as long as I possibly can. Because to me, regardless of what happens in this season, there's only one thing that I care about for the 2024 Padres. We'll worry about 2025, 2026, 27 when those years come with, Ethan Salas, Drew Thorpes, and the Leskos and the Snell. Those guys come up if the organization. We'll worry about it then. The thing that I care about, I think a lot of fans care about this year, is getting to. That's it. Any means necessary. Getting to the postseason. That's it. And if they do not make the postseason, which is the first goal of this team, and then once they get to the postseason, worry about the postseason then and getting to a World Series and making a run, then it's over. It's done. There's no more games here. There's no more tries. There's no more, hey, well, we have a great farm system. No, I don't care.
Right.
It's about making the postseason this year at the major league level. I don't want to hear about no prospect ranking. I want to hear about no Ethan Salas, what he's doing in the minors. Like, it's great. It's cool. Guess what? I care about the 2024 Padres making the postseason any way possible.
Can I ask this question as I derail it?
Sure.
So Joe Musgrove's made his 2 starts. Who cares? I'm on board for that. The bad outing against the Dodgers followed by a bad outing against someone else.
Just be healthy. I think he is.
Yeah, so just be healthy. So today he pitched in a B game. Like
Today
a controlled
or yesterday?
environment. Was it yesterday?
I think it was a couple days ago.
It was a couple days ago, wasn't it?
It was like the greatest B game in the history of like B games.
So why was that?
Extra work? I don't know. Maybe to get some of these young guys
Build them
facing
up?
some major league pitching and build them up. So
Build them up. Okay.
kill two birds with one stone.
And again, it's a little tricky because as you head into March 20th in Korea, it's not like it's very atypical because you're going to leave on the 13th. You're not playing until the 20th. You're going to play some games against Korean teams in the days leading up. So it's not like you can just pitch them every 5th day and everything's on routine and you can have them ready to go. But it's been a weird spring a little bit for Joe Musgrove. I wonder what the plan is. Like, who are the first 2 starters going to be?
Musgrove and Darvish in
some order.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then when they come home, will it be Musgrove or Darvish? Again, I said a week ago, I don't see it.
Their rotation to me is Darvish, Musgrove, Michael King, Johnny Brito, Matt Waldron. That's their 5. That's what I'm going with right now.
Yeah, you could be right. Yeah.
Is that enough?
We'll find out. Waldron's had a really good spring.
So has Johnny Brito.
Brito's had a good spring. We'll find out.
I think Randy Vasquez is going to be in the bullpen, and I think Pedro Avila, who I don't know if he has any more options left. If he does, then he's definitely not. I don't.
Avila?
Yeah. You seen me come to the roster?
Honestly, I'm still. Here's the thing. I wonder what they're going to do with the 4th and 5th spots. I think you're probably right with Brito. I don't even. Do they even need to know? Because by the time we see the 4th and 5th starter, it'll be April. potentially, depending on what they do. Because they go to Korea, they come home, they can go back to the top of the
I
rotation.
mean, you have to have a plan. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have 4 weeks from now until they use their number 4 starter. 4 weeks from now,
Right.
to use their number 4 starter.
But once we get to that time period in 4 weeks, or 4 weeks, whenever the season starts, before they need a fourth and fifth starter,
Yeah,
I think it will be Brito and Waldron.
That's your call.
Once they get into the season, I think once we get to a regular rotation, it will be, in my opinion, Musgrove, Darvish, or flip flop, whatever. King, Brito, Waldron.
Bring it on. Opening day is 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah,
2 weeks from tomorrow.
yeah.
It's good. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know what the storylines are this spring. I mean, I do know what the storylines are. I think we're waiting for a shoe to drop. People have been telling us for 90 days and nothing's happened. So maybe the plan is you're looking at it right in front of your face. What you're seeing, these guys are actually competing for jobs. The Mercados and the LeCastros and the whomever they signed today, they're actually competing for jobs.
What's his name? Brad, what's his name?
Miller.
Brad Miller.
I was going to say Hand.
Brad Hand? No. Brad Miller.
But I mean, maybe that's the plan. And they're all competing for jobs and it's a complete open competition. And that's
we're just
going to be what it is.
Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to speak a move into existence. I feel
exactly.
Because I think deep down, we all know this team ain't making a move, it feels like, and that they're going to go this transition period here and potentially have a lot of young players on this opening day roster.
What about Blake
saying,
Snell?
Quote, that we're going to compete.
What about the people saying Blake Snell's now a possibility?
Next question.
Because of you're seeing these short deals.
Next question, please.
Zach Wheeler got 42.
If they're not giving Tommy Pham $6 million or
then you
whatever,
think 42 per year is a possibility or
they're
not?
probably not giving Blake Snell $27 million a year.
By the way, we talked about this yesterday. There's no world. I see your text, Mark Nimitz. There's no world where Snell is getting 27 a year. Zach Wheeler got 42. Zach Wheeler was nowhere near as good as Snell. I mean, obviously, he won the Cy Young.
Yeah.
Zach Wheeler got 42 in a short deal.
The Jordan Montgomery thing is interesting because I think he is more of a reliable pitcher than Blake Snell. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but if you look at Jordan Montgomery here, let me just look it up.
Boris is the representation for both.
I know he is, John. Okay, let me just look up Jordan Montgomery because I want to see here. Pull this up. All right, Jordan Montgomery, last couple years. Okay, 188 innings last season.
That's all that matters.
But I'm looking at his previous years to make sure that, okay, 2021 to 2023, 157 innings, 178, 114, 63, 188.
Well, no, 63 was a half a year. So
2022.
Yeah. No. He's thrown a ton of innings.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
157. I'm looking at this wrong.
Yeah.
So the last 3 years, 157, 178, 188. You don't think that I would think that Jordan Montgomery would be signed before Blake Snell. I think Jordan.
You think Jordan Montgomery gets more than Snell?
If you had to pick one, who would you pick?
Well, that's not the point. But here is the point. They're both represented by Scott Boras. Zach Wheeler just went off the board for 42 a year.
Dude, there's no.
How are they getting 20? You even said, and I know you just throw. He's not getting 27 a year. Now, Snell's getting 27 a year if you give him 5-6 years. But if you give him 1, 2, 3 years, he's getting $40 million per year.
Yeah, he's not coming back to the Padres.
So you don't see him on a 2-year, $40 million per year deal.
This team in 2024 is going to be pinching pennies, which they have shown with their actions. Actions speak louder than words. Their actions are, we are not going to spend money. We are going to give every opportunity to young guys on their team. Be damned if they're ready or not, because we are not going to go out and spend $10 million for a stopgap 1-year guy. This is not going to happen. This team is not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they kind of are, they kind of went out and said that they were going to do that once they traded Juan Soto, but then they didn't do that. Now, could you say that they're lying to us? No, but it is interesting how right after Juan Soto got traded, one of the first things that AJ Preller said was they're going to use this money to allocate that to the rest of the roster to fill out their holes and needs. They haven't done any of it.
And by the way, if you trade Soto because you can't afford his 32 and you want to stay under the CBT, why would you sign Blake Snell?
You're not signing Blake Snell.
You traded Juan Soto. So why would you sign Blake Snell to go back over the CBT? All right. On the other side, we're getting ready for San Diego State and UNLV. Is expanding the NCAA tournament a good or a bad idea? It seems inevitable, potentially, as The Athletic reported last night. Plus, Jim's back page is ahead. We have San Diego State pregame coverage at 7:30. Ted Leitner on the call at 8 from Vegas. Aztecs and Running Rebs tonight from the Thomas and Max. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. 100%. No credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey guys, it's Shay for Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly with Loan Pronto's AI-based system. You can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 per month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards, get some money for a home improvement project, maybe add solar panels. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Here's the number to call. You can call right now, 619-207-4336. Again, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Equal housing lender.
This update's brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Aztecs basketball tonight. 7:30 tip-off, or 7:30 pregame, 8 o'clock tip-off in Las Vegas versus UNLV. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Cactus League play today. Padres lost to the D-backs 5-3. The Padres have signed Brad Miller to a minor league contract. AJ Caswell is reporting he has a chance to vie for a bench spot on the major league roster. All problems are fixed. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Is Jim talking like that? Were you trying to hold off a sneeze or were you yawning?
I was trying to hold off like a burp.
Oh, burp. By the way, what'd you say?
Don't want to burp in the microphone.
Yeah, it's a good call. So remember, Jim, who's dealing with like the after effects of a kidney stone for weeks.
It's not the kidney stone's gone.
Whatever. Just let me tell this story.
Okay, fine.
He Googled after the kidney stone, like what to do if you're prone to kidney stones. Like, don't eat chocolate, don't eat sweets, don't eat like a high-fat diet, don't eat sugar, don't eat sodium, don't drink soda. Since he Googled that, today, for example, I've seen him eat 5. Do I have it right? Is it 5 pieces of candy?
6.
6 pieces of candy. Within the last week post-kidney stone, he's had at least a soda. He had 1.
1 soda. That's good for me.
So yeah, it's good for you. But again,
One
is it a
soda
little
in the last what?
A couple weeks,
2.5 weeks, 2 weeks.
I found it aggressive that you went right to the sweets and you're like Reese's peanut butter cup and Baby Ruth and Milky Way.
We always had a Baby Ruth over there.
Did you have a Baby Ruth?
No, they didn't have one.
But you had a Milky Way.
And I don't know what that is for. It's like this mousse with sunglasses on. It's for Big Rich Titty and Fletch.
Clearly.
And
that's not for Darren's show?
No.
This mousse with,
this entire room is filled with all Big Rich Titty and Fletch stuff. But I digress. Why is it filled with candy is my question. And why do they just keep it in here? Because you know that's a dangerous thing to just keep candy around us. Especially free food in a radio station. Me and Brent are going to be all over that.
You guys have.
Yeah. So if they get upset about it potentially being, eaten.
Yeah, it's their fault.
Their fault.
Yeah.
You can't just leave like a bear a piece of meat in front of them and not expect them to eat it.
But again, I'm just wondering, like, okay, if I went to the doctor,
you would never eat anything in your
exactly.
entire life
If the
ever
doctor told me, hey, you're gonna have a heart attack if you keep eating red meat, stop eating it, I would. I would stop eating red meat. You've decided to do the opposite approach.
Double down.
The guy's like, listen, you're gonna be prone to kidney stones if you keep eating this way.
Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't. And you're like, you only live once.
So I got this email today from John Monty. If you know John Monty, you know John Monty.
Yeah, sure.
You know who John Monty is.
Traffic reporter.
Reporter. And he mentioned to me one of his good friends named Paul Parks, who is a avid listener of our show.
Hey, Paul.
Mentioned that he heard about my whole kidney stone saga. And he told John Monty that to tell me that in his life, he's had over 300 kidney stones. And he's like,
whoa.
Squad goals.
What do you mean he's had 300? Has he gone to the hospital for a vast majority of these, or he just passes them?
He said that his buddy Paul, who listens to our show every day, he has had over 300 kidney stones. And that somebody turned him onto an alternative medicine called Stone Breaker. Drops from a plant you simply put in your water and you drink it. And he says it's been amazing and it's the best remedy ever.
Well, you might want to get an endorsement.
I might want to.
Okay. Yeah.
Stonebreaker. If you're listening, I'm here for you. So maybe that's what I got to do. But here's the other thing. The doctor mentioned that I didn't have to like change my diet at all. Just that here are some things to maybe like tone, like, take a step back from or like tone down a little bit. And obviously the number one thing in the entire kidney stone saga is drink more water, you idiot.
Well, it's true. In the 7 years I've known you, I never previously had ever seen you drink water. I've seen you drink soda, but I don't think I ever saw you in any capacity. Am I wrong? Maybe
No,
a cup of water.
yeah, but not like to where I bring a water bottle every single day now. It is definitely, when I had that soda like last week, I didn't even finish it because I was like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things now. It'll be a while before I start drinking soda again, if I do, because that does the soda thing does kind of scare me. The candy thing, the chocolate thing, like I'm not gonna like worry about that too much because I don't eat like excessive amounts of chocolate. 6 pieces of little candy, like that's not a big deal to me.
Dude, the guy that fills our vending machine is gonna think you died or something.
I know, because I'm not getting
Seriously.
chips every day.
Yeah, this company's gonna go
like,
under
we're-
because you're not eating out of the vending
I
What
machine.
know.
happened to all the chips and Coke?
Yeah, and by the
All
way,
right.
this water bottle isn't even my water bottle. It's Erin's water bottle from her bachelorette trip, and there's like a sticker on it.
Great, get them as an endorser.
You want me to read what it says?
No.
Okay.
What does it say?
It says, once upon a time, Erin the bride took her best friends, Claire, Lauren, Camille, Emily, Heather, Joelle, Sophia, and Shaylin to Arizona, and you'll never guess what happened next.
Nope.
Go on.
It involves
Tell us about the chef again.
a chef and a big sausage pizza.
The Athletic today.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so the Athletic today reporting this. It was actually last night.
How you doing?
That the NCAA tournament is likely to expand, but only moderately, from either 68
Oh,
to
man.
72 teams or from 68 to 76 teams. So this is Dana O'Neill yesterday at the Athletic. They're not talking about 96 teams. It's going to expand. Like it's going from 68 to 72 or 76. That's the most likeliest outcome for the NCAA tournament. Why?
Why?
Well, there's a couple of factors here.
It's just like, I don't know, make something that's already perfect. Just add to something
But
that's already
here's the thing.
perfect.
Here's the thing. You know what this is. I mean, all of this comes down to the same thing.
Money.
Right. And power. So these power leagues are going to like 18 schools, Jim. Right? Like so already you're seeing leagues like the Big 12 get like 9 teams, 10 teams out of 14 into the NCAA tournament. So if the Big 12 now is getting 9 and they add 4 teams, you think they're still going to be content with getting 9? Let me answer that for you. They won't be.
No.
They think their 9 should go to 11. Big 10, if they're getting 8, they think their 8 should go to 9 or 10. So how do you make up for that? Well, you have to add teams. Because you can't have every spot in the field for power leagues. I mean, the beauty of the tournament, correct me if I'm wrong, is that Akron can beat Auburn.
Yeah.
Or that, FGCU can beat whomever.
Mhm.
And it goes on and on and on. Like, if Mississippi State beats Auburn, are you going to be talking about it the next day at the water cooler? It's not as impactful. But when Belmont beats Purdue, it hasn't happened, but you get my point. When Purdue loses, who'd they lose to last year? It wasn't St. Peter's, was it? No, that was Kentucky that lost to St. Peter's. Who did beat Purdue last year?
Princeton?
No. How do we forget that? It was UMBC over Virginia. Someone put in the chat,
Hold on.
who beat Purdue? Don't tell me. Give me a hint when you find out. How am I forgetting that?
Hold on. North Texas?
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Fairleigh Dickinson, because they played the Aztecs next.
No, they didn't. That was Furman, which you called Furnham.
Furman.
But the point is,
Furman.
like you're not going to remember it, and we didn't. But you're not going to remember it if like a team that goes 16-15 and 8-14 in their league. If the University of Florida goes 16-15 and then beats like a number 2 seed, it doesn't have the same impact as FDU, who you've never seen on a national stage, take a shot at Goliath and like slay them.
Here is what I would be okay with.
Okay. What would you be okay with?
You want to add 4 more teams? You want to get to 76?
That's 8 more.
Or sorry, whatever. Go right ahead. As long as you do not mess with the 1 versus 16. Do not mess with it. Don't make it a 1 versus a 17 or a 1 versus. Well, I can't do that, right? Versus 17. They only do
No,
one
I mean, they
rotation.
would keep the format.
No, that's what I mean. You do not mess with the format. If you want to have like the play-ins to get to that seeding, whatever, that's fine. Do it. And if you want to call it, oh, we made the NCAA tournament and we had to do a playing game to get into the real, that's fine.
Okay.
Don't mess with Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at all. Well, you can't really mess with Sunday because you get my point. Is the bracket? It is perfect how it is.
Yeah, you got to be able to fit the thing on a piece of paper.
Don't mess with it. You start messing with the bracket and you start expanding the bracket and you give teams potential buys or whatever the case may be. I'm just going really far down the road. Then it's a problem.
Is that a word?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I had to,
So
here's
the
blah,
thing.
blah, 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 blah.
And I said this during the fusion, and this might be getting the weeds, but I don't care. Teams like FDU shouldn't be playing in the playing round. They won their league. Let them play a one seed. Who cares?
Yeah,
Why is FDU playing Central Connecticut State for the right to play Purdue? What I want to see in the play-in is high major against mid-major. Give me New Mexico against St. John's. Give me Drake against Mississippi State. You get my point. I think there's intrigue in that. But I don't need to see Central Connecticut play Fairleigh Dickinson. Central Connecticut won its league. Why do I have to play another game? So I'm with you. Keep the format. Expand it moderately if you have to.
If you have to start the tournament on like a Monday night or like,
No, I think you do it the same way because you know they have the Dayton games Tuesday and Wednesday.
Make it all day thing.
Make it Dayton, but at the same time you're playing in Philadelphia, and at the same time you're playing in Sacramento.
Sure, yeah, have multiple games on at the same time and
it's
don't.
fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
All day Tuesday, all day Wednesday,
and then you got all day Thursday, all day Friday when the actual tournament really starts.
Yeah. All right, you feel the same way.
Yeah. When you start thinking about it, you're like, oh my God, you're adding more teams. Just as long as you don't mess with the bracket.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I do.
Don't mess with it.
All right. Tim's back page. Don't mess with that. It's next. All right, people are chiming in on kidney stones plus Jim's back page next. All right, pregame coverage, San Diego State, UNLV, Thomas and Mack Center, 7:30. Myself, Ben Fletcher, countdown to tip-off. Tip-off tonight from Vegas just after 8 p.m. Aztecs running Rebs, big game. I mean, it really is a huge week, obviously. Final 2 regular season games tonight, UNLV. Friday is senior night. Jim won't be here for it. He'll be in Vegas for his bachelor party, but that's all right. Maybe you'll watch on TV.
Well, I will be in Vegas, and we are staying at Circa.
Oh,
so
go on. What are the Friday night plans for Vegas?
The Friday night plans. We are doing a escape room on Friday night. You know what that is?
Yeah, you have to like escape.
Yeah.
But what if you don't?
Well, then you're stuck forever. Have you ever heard of the movie It?
No.
There's a book too, John.
With the clown?
Clown.
No.
Pennywise?
Stephen King.
Hello, Georgie.
You're going to do that?
So they have a new It escape room in Las Vegas. We're doing that. And
oh, man, wish I could make it.
And
what if he doesn't get out? Then he won't be here on Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, he's doing that. What else? You're playing golf.
We're planning on going to that all-you-can-eat sushi place that me and you went to.
Oh, great. Sure. Just do that. Sure. Bachelor party weekend. Greatest weekend of all time. Sure. Go to the all-you-can-eat sushi
that
place.
was
That place was spectacular.
Your favorite sushi bar. I mean, it's
it was
amazing.
You go late because at midnight it's like $17.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like $30 for
It's amazing.
all you can eat.
It was spectacular.
One of the best sushi places experiences ever.
Okay.
But we plan on doing that.
Friday night?
Friday night after the escape room. And then golf on Saturday. Going to Hell's Kitchen on Saturday night. No big deal.
This is such like you.
And then we're coming home Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Nothing. Sounds fun.
Might hit up the Circa Pool bar. Maybe watch a little Aztec basketball on Friday night. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Okay, let's get to this.
That's wild. Vegas ain't ready
Man,
for us.
that's crazy. Escape room and sushi. Woo!
Hell's Kitchen too, man.
Like they always say, what happens there?
Do some crocheting in between.
Yeah,
Man, that's wild.
Yeah, Vegas ain't ready for us. Like the Vegas hasn't taken on 4 30-year-olds in their life.
Right. We're gonna go sleep at like 11:45 at night.
You know what? I might because we have golf early Saturday morning. So I think
will you even?
You're a wake up call for 5 a.m.
You're like me. Like I'm not a drinker. I don't have a drink.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be like?
No, we're not. We're not gonna be like crazy now.
Okay.
No.
Sounds wild.
Famous last words.
Perfect destination for that. All right. What do you got?
So you remember the whole Wendy's dynamic pricing fiasco?
Yes.
Well, after the massive surge backlash, Wendy's is giving customers a slam dunk deal. Food chain is dishing out deals for March Madness, and basketball fans, basketball and burger lovers alike can score $1 Dave's singles and $2 Dave's doubles anytime from now through April 10th by checking the offers tab in the Wendy's app.
Has this been a massive backlash situation?
Yeah.
Ooh. See, here's the thing with that. I think they were going to do that anyways because I heard a commercial yesterday.
$1?
Yeah, where they were singing over, remember Stupid Sandstorm, where they were singing over Sandstorm, and it's just like, yeah, there's no way they made that commercial within a week due to the backlash. I think they're trying to give credit to the backlash, like, oh, we're sorry. Here's a $1 Dave's double, which we were going to do anyways, but no, we were.
So make sure you check the Wendy's app because you can get $1 burgers, single burger, or $2 double burgers at Wendy's through April 10th.
Even if it's busy, or is it $20 then?
Doesn't say that, John.
Okay.
Doesn't say that.
All right. You could do that in Vegas.
Maybe.
Hey guys, let's download the app.
Yeah, let's go to the Wendy's in Vegas and download the app and wait until we get $1 burger.
Awesome.
Or we can go to the Taco Bell down there.
Yeah.
Go to the Heart Attack Grill. Go get another kidney stone.
Dude, you know what? I went to a Heart Attack Grill one time and I will never go again. That place, the first bite was amazing. The second bite, I wanted to throw up. And then I didn't finish my meal, so I got spanked by a waitress.
Okay. Interesting.
Starting April 5th at Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris, Star Tours will be adding new locations and characters to their ride from Ahsoka, Andor, and The Mandalorian.
In English?
The new Star Tours ride is being updated.
Oh, cool. What's the Star Tours ride?
Oh my gosh. Star Tours ride, John, is where you basically, with a bunch of people, sit down in like a virtual, like, I don't know, room where you're just like, you're going through Star Wars adventures on like a ship, and you kind of feel like you're on a ship, and you go through different parts of the Star Wars galaxy. And now they're adding new places on the ride.
It's like, you remember when we were kids, John, you'd go to Great America and they had like the original IMAX and like experience the Grand Canyon, and you'd go and sit there and feel like you're,
and then they'd like update it. Maybe I got you.
It's one of those, only it's
experiential
Star Wars instead
and
of
they're
the Grand
updating
Canyon.
Okay.
Are you sad that you're missing my Vegas weekend? Because Ben Fadden believes that you are not.
Well, here's the thing. I was invited, but then you're like, no, we're going to play golf. You don't want to do that.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say
something like that. What'd you say?
I said, look, hey, bachelor party trip will be the first weekend of March. But here's the thing. We'll be like golfing and all that stuff. So
right.
You don't golf. Are you okay with that? And you're like, I don't know.
You just described like a John Schaefer weekend. We're going to have sushi. And we're going to download Nap. Like, you're not like, I can do all those things.
All right. Well, then you would have had to miss the senior night. Yes, actually.
No, I'm not doing that. I just showed up after the game.
Yeah. And last weekend, you went
10 minutes.
Last weekend, you went on a trip with your wife.
Exactly.
So when could you have gone?
All right. It's a tip off. It's coming up at 7:30. I'm going to need like pictures. Actually, it doesn't sound that crazy. I'm not a crazy guy.
It won't be. Well, like one shot, like, oh, dude, we're so crazy.
Cats at tip off at 7:30. Tip off at 8 p.m. Join us. Myself and Ben Fletcher will get you ready for San Diego State and UNLV tonight. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeart Radio app, find us on social, at John and Jim, for Brent and Jim, who graced us with his presence today. You're welcome.
I will
I'm
be here
John.
tomorrow.